Worth the War is rethinking love and relationship and sparing hearts by preventing abuse. If you think we can do a better job with love and relationships than we're doing today, you have found the exact right channel. I hope that you'll press the subscribe button, the notification bell, and join our community here. And I'll also put down below our other 5 platforms that we're on. Our numbers are growing. We're raising our voice for healthy love and relationship for our generation and the generations that follow. Today's topic is one that I get notes about all the time on my platforms, and it's what do we do, how do we respond when someone lies about our love, when they repaint our relationship, and really we don't even recognize ourselves in the narrative. Let's dig right into the content. So the first thing that we have to know when someone lies about us, when they lie about relationships, when they lie about the way we love, is the why. The why is really usually pretty clear cut. It is that the ego itself does not like failure, especially doesn't like rejection. I think as humans we can honestly admit we're not really built for rejection. So when that happens, often we find ourselves repainting the reality so that it suits our narrative. We make them crazy, we make them unresponsive, we make them unkind, we make them selfish, or whatever you need to do to make yourself feel better. I'm sure that there's a song, whatever gets you through the night, kind of rings true, is whatever gets you through the breakup kind of has to become your reality. I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's good. It's kind of a sad part of our culture today. But the point is that we can take some cues that will prevent us from seeing this problem, which is somebody really lying about you, the way you love, the way that you carried out your relationships. And it could get better or worse depending on how you respond to it. So we know the why. Now, how do we move forward with the what do we do? Well, the first thing that we do is something we don't do. We don't run out ahead of it and defend ourselves. And there's a reason for that. It comes off as really being kind of like you protest too much, like you're out there trying to prove something that may or may not be true, and it just creates more attention. And if somebody willfully wants to believe a lie about you, nothing you say is going to change that. So the question really becomes, how much energy am I going to put into defending myself in a situation where people clearly want to see the worst in me? They want to kind of take a side, per se. So if we back up and we say what we don't do is run out there ahead of ourselves defending our story, the way we see things. The second things we do is we need to know really solidly what our story is. And so we need to be really confident, not just the fact that what's being said isn't true, but also in what were the things that you wish you had done differently? What are the things that you truly can take a lesson and learn and stay humble about? Knowing that doesn't mean we throw that out there like it's some kind of, way to fix things. I don't even really think it's about sharing it. It's about knowing it within yourself. If the goal of Worth the War, our movement, is to actually prevent abuse by giving people solid foundations for relationships, well, one of the most solid ways we can move forward is by being honest with ourselves. So set those stories aside, the things that are lies, but know within yourself, what are those things that maybe are triggering the reason that this is bothering you so much? There may not be anything there, but be ready to admit if there is, for your own sake, not for anybody else's. And the other thing is, we get to choose then whether we're going to feed or starve these stories. And so our response really has to come from a place of confidence. We know that we were good, we were kind, we were fair, we ended things well. However those things are that we can take comfort in, we need to know that we weren't perfect. And we can not really respond to somebody by defending ourselves. Who do you have to defend yourself from? If you've done things the way you wish you had, and even if you didn't, at this point, telling people that are unrelated or third-party sources isn't going to fix anything that has been done. So just accept that they're telling it to you. Accept that there's very high likelihood that this is a wolf in sheep's clothing. If they're coming to you with these dramatic stories from the person that you used to care about, it's usually to get a response. Don't give it to them. Don't give them a response or a defense or a reaction. Because at that point, what you're really doing is either feeding or starving the story. And if your response is, I'm just not going to talk about it, you leave them no place to go. They can go back, but it's not going to create any exciting firestorm that really, obviously, is probably the point of them coming to you. So just be calm within your own self. Don't worry so much about what people think, because the truth is, if they want to believe bad of you, let them go. Those people wanted to believe that from the beginning. You aren't going to be able to fix it with words. You're not going to win anybody over by sharing your side. Let them go, and let the story be starved in your own hands. Probably the most important piece of this is that life creates patterns. Character creates patterns. So whatever it is that has been laid at your feet, you've been accused of in your relationships, your life will set a pattern. It will speak the truth. And so you really don't have to defend yourself. So if you're, say, being accused of lying, or you're being accused of being unfaithful, or whatever those things might be, over time, your life, the way you carry it out, will speak truth to that. So let it speak, and don't try to convince people of other narratives. And so when we think about why it bothers us that someone's lying about us, especially someone that we cared about, if we really take it apart, we realize that they may need that story to be able to feel good about it ending. Over time, that story may get less venomous because they're not going to care as much. The other thing is they may be able to move forward better knowing that you're in turmoil. Don't give them that gift. Don't be in turmoil. Realize the people who were for you are still for you. The people that were not for you are now not for you. So nothing has really changed. You haven't lost anything. And that you know that your life is going to speak truth to whatever stories are ever told about you behind your back. So if someone lies about your love, if someone lies about your relationship, the most painful piece is going to be that someone that you put your trust in would do that to you. Well, I think we've explained the why, and now we're going to explain the fact that if that's their character, it just proves you made a good decision. So I hope that somehow, somewhere in here, you have found something that has spoken to you, and that you could hold space for the fact that these kinds of things do happen to almost all of us, but the truth rises and your character will speak louder than any stories about you. So stop getting upset about it. Be calm in the response. Don't feed it, and just enjoy the process of healing and moving on, knowing that the way you move on is actually the foundation that you'll build, so that as you move into other relationships, you are not a victim of abuse. You're not a victim of unhealthy or toxic relationships. Our goal is to be able to give that to you. Down below, I will link the blog post that's a little bit longer, and it goes into more description, but it also offers some things about how we as humans hold memories and how it's a little bit different than you might think. And so people are often convinced of things that make them feel better about themselves. So thank you for taking the time to be here. I really hope that you'll join our community here and on the other platforms we're on. Help us to raise a community that will fight to spare hearts and avoid abuse. And thanks for taking the time to be here. Have a great rest of your week.